Hey, Kateri, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a great moment I wanted to share with you. I had a very 2018 musical moment.
Yay.
Did you ever go to a record store at like midnight for a record to come out?
I don't think I ever did go at midnight, but I definitely have gone to pick up records when they come out.
Now my new midnight thing is going to Spotify at midnight and waiting till that record comes on and being in the Midwest. Usually it's actually at 11 p.m. So Thursday night I was very excited for the new Janelle Monae record. Dirty computer, I've been waiting for it, and I put it on and I'm loving it. And then of course, since it's 2018, I say I should go online and say how much I'm loving it. And suddenly I'm immersed in this world of Janelle Monae, and I haven't been this excited about an artist's album in so long. I'm giddy. So I feel like I went to a record store at midnight with how much excitement I have about it. Are you a Janelle person at all?
I love her. She's amazing. Love to have her at some point. So.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she's great. And like her videos are amazing. The production value. And
it's an artist doing her best work yet, and she's already made some great records.
She's actually one of the first people at this show, and we were making brainstorming lists about who to have. She's always been at the top, regardless of where she is with a record. She's always been one of our favorites. We just feel like she'd be a perfect fit here, so hopefully we'll work together.
You had, not for a performance, but for a little bit, you had Method Man and Ghostface on the show recently. Okay. Can you walk me through getting musicians in when it's not for a traditional performance?
Well, in that case, it was because of the album and the Martin Shkreli thing that had gone on, and that Jeff Sessions now had the album. So in that particular case, our writers came to us and were like, let's try to get some Wu-Tang members on the show. And a lot of them live in New York, so it's not a huge deal, but at the same time, they have a bunch of different reps, and so it is hard to get all of them together. Mm-hmm. But those guys were the absolute nicest. So fun and nice, and we're like, we have to have you back, so hopefully we'll have them back, but they're great.
It cracked me up. The whole presentation was spectacular on that skit.
Yeah.
You have Jack White coming up on the show, and that's just an artist who is kind of known for making incredible moments live. He's got a reputation for that. What can you expect from Jack White stepping on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert stage?
We're so excited because we have had him on, but it was for the Dead Weather early on in the show. So it'll be really nice to have him solo and, for a new record. He's the best, too, a really nice guy, but also creative genius and has a little bit of an empire.
A little bit?
Yeah, so
he has an upholstery business.
Empire.
He has a record store.
Just a little empire. He's, amazing. So we're excited. And he has a relationship with Stephen. They've done, bits in the past at the Colbert Report, Catholic off, because he's religious as well. But, yeah, so it'll be interesting to have him solo. And we're excited. Friend of the show.
So how does somebody get this friend of the show appendage? That's what happened for LP and Killer Mike. They said a friend of the show, and then they put on this incredible performance. How do you think somebody gets to that level where you really feel like you're close with them?
Anyone who was on the Colbert Report, which was kind of just this niche show, anyone who's on that show, especially if you were on a couple times, then you kind of get that friend of the show title. Because that show was on for 10 years, but it only had one guest a night, and it had maybe a musical guest every 4 to 8 weeks. Right. So it was few and far between. So I think that's part of it, and then I think doing the comedy bits, the Run the Jewels did this Halloween bit with us, so it kind of started there, and they've performed on the show I think 3 times, and done 3 comedy bits. So yeah, I guess the amount of times you come in helps. But then Stephen has his personal relationships too, so. That's also a friend of the show. Many hats.
We had Run the Jewels on at the Current, and we had them for a thing we do called Theft of the Dial, where artists come in and pick basically about 45 minutes of music and talk about why they picked it. We play a couple Run the Jewels songs, but primarily it's what are you listening to right now? And even with how hardcore the vibe of Run the Jewels is, and it's all, blasting drums and hard vocal samples and all that, they picked strictly romance, 1970s ballads and crooners. And hearing Killer Mike talk about that this is the music he likes to make breakfast to with his children and his wife gave me this much more tender side of Run the Jewels than you necessarily get from what's on their records.
Right. Actually, one time they were here when Greg Porter was here, and there was a mutual love fest. on both ends. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know you guys were like a fan of Gregory Porter. But it's always fun when you're like, oh, wow, you see another side of someone outside of their public persona.
Yeah, you find out that there's a little more depth to them. And I wanted to geek out for a moment on the particular song that they played Thursday in the Danger Room. The fact that they found a song where LP could talk about Camoteo, who he gave a shout out to at the end of the song. His verse is about
his friend,
this rapper who passed away. I've loved it on the record, and I loved the performance that they did on your show. It was just spectacular.
Awesome. Yeah, they're the best. So it was actually a nice rounded out week because we had Grace Vanderwell, Brothers Osborne, and Run the Jewels. So it was kind of a good balanced music week, which doesn't always happen. We realized a couple weeks ago we booked a couple Scottish bands in a row, and we're like, oh yeah, not on purpose. It just so happened, but you know, it's nice if you can kind of spread it out.
You had multiple Scottish bands in 1 week?
It was Snow Patrol and Franz Ferdinand, and I guess technically not everyone in Snow Patrol is Scottish, and then Franz Ferdinand is. But anyway, a couple of them are, and so it was like, oh, 2 in a row. Great bands.
Yeah.
Great performances. Love both of them. But it's like fun when you have variety, you know.
The current, for whatever reason, right now feels like we play a lot of local music, we play music from all over, and then we play any band from Australia. For whatever reason, a lot of the rock bands like Middle Kids and Courtney Barnett and all these groups, there's a big Australia thing happening for us right now. I don't know if you're getting the same thing.
Yes, definitely. So many great Australian bands. Middle Kids were just on Kimmel, I believe. Great performance, so love them. I love Australia and their people and their music.
a lot of positive love for Commonwealth countries. Well, thank you so much for chatting and letting me know what's going on with The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk soon.
All right, sounds great. All right, bye everybody. See ya.